So I'm going to give the floor to Mr. Kris De Meester, who's a member of the Employers Federation in Belgium. He is the first counsellor for the Center of Employment, Social Security, Competency, Safety, Wellness, and Wellbeing at Work.
Goedemiddag.
Afternoon, I will start in French and then go on in Dutch. Just a couple of words about me. I believe it's important to know that I was already present on this matter when the law of mixed met was already emitted in 2002. The decree was mixed met who defined the confidential counselor as a figure. Afterwards, I was present for the debates on the Ankelings law in 2002, which was integrated in the wellness at work law. Here I'm explaining the context in my slide, but the important thing here is to remember that when we ended the discussion on the Convention 190, the violence against men and women in the workplace or the world of work, I was a member of the small experts committee who embarked on the discussions, and I was very active at that stage. So we may say that I have acquired some experience on this matter and to see how we can improve things. I believe everyone is looking for this. Now, I'm not too proud about this convention anymore, because I believe that we really missed the train and didn't describe adequately the acts and behaviors we want to eliminate from the work world. The developed countries wanted to include very broad gestures, but in the developing countries, we opened the door to exclude some abusive behaviors for cultural reasons, etc. The countries who ratified, you will find Uruguay, Somalia, Ecuador, Namibia, countries where we all know that fighting sexism and harassment are priorities. And I'm of course joking, but Belgium is going to be a member of this list. But really, I believe that we missed an opportunity there. And now I'm going to go on in Dutch with a small anecdote to talk about a exemplary behavior. While we were working in 2016, we're in a tri-party organization, trade unions, employees, and authorities. And during discussions, we had a spokesperson who adopted exactly the behavior that we were all condemning, because he was all through the meeting bullying a trainee, a female trainee. At a certain stage, we wanted to even, we thought of stop the meeting. And then during the conference, we also observed bad behavior from people at high levels, from embassies, consulates, and also members of the ILO. And so the Secretary General or Director General really wanted to exclude my colleague, who was my superior, because she was a woman. So I believe this is something we may never forget, no matter whether we're talking about people in management. We all have a goal to play. What does the convention say? And this is something that we find in our wellness legislation. We have a sanction mechanism, compensation, risk analysis, measures, training, awareness raising, information training, mechanism for launching a complaint, examination. All these are very classical ingredients, but I must say, I don't believe really in this recipe anymore, and I will come back on that later on. You certainly know that at that time, the employers were not very happy with this law. There were many articles in the press, were talking about the harassment of unclings or harassment of the employers. But this law is now a part of the law on well-being. But now the employers do not say anything anymore. They do not say they are being harassed by this law. They have a procedure. They specialized prevention advisors. They have the confidential counselors, etc. But today, nobody is going against the law anymore. Why? Because the law is not solving any problems. So I believe there are many things to be changed. Here you have the only example of a sentence that all the parties are defending. So that was the starting point. Everybody agreed upon that, but on the next step, we had this example that I present in all companies. I say, I do not have to explain to you why this topic is important and why you need a policy on violence and harassment and sexism. It's you who need to decide on that. So when we start working in a company, we do not, I guess, accept cases of violence, harassment, and sexism when we are tolerant to the development of this kind of atmosphere or a environment accepting this kind of mindset. It can be a problem. So if the workers do not feel they can work and complaining about the problems, we're in a problem. There are nowadays many young workers who before applying are checking on the values a company defends. It can be values at an environmental level or human level, and all these values are very important. And of course, human values must be respected. This is the only way to attract talents. Prevention now is of utmost importance. Your colleagues have talked already about it, but I have a slight different vision. Considering the investigations that we realized, we know that all policies that are opposing certain things, you know, we always say we have to fight against blah, 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 but we know that a project which has a positive connotation in favor of something will allow us to obtain better results with less energy invested. We're talking about tolerance zero. When you fight something, you have to prepare definitions, do reporting, and then you have discussions, endless discussions on all small definitions. And you may never forget that there is always exceptions or specific cases where people do not arrive to reach an agreement. And within the United Nations, by that time, we had meetings on definitions, and we had to interrupt them, these meetings, because the Australians could not accept that blasphemy be integrated in the definition, because this was something that they were using every day when they were expressing themselves normally in their culture. So if we are in such a situation, we can't progress. So if we were going to invest so many efforts in the definitions, it wasn't really worth it. The same thing is true for this zero tolerance, zero accidents at work. I am against this approach, not because I am against the philosophy. I believe the idea at the base is very positive, but very often we are only using some figures. And earlier, somebody said that if we receive more complaints, that means that people are aware of the problem. But if we're talking about zero tolerance, we're only looking at figures, and we forget about the solutions that we can use to fight the problem. So you should not look only the figures. Of course, you can ambition a zero tolerance, but if you want to carry out such a policy, you must think that you will need the necessary human resources, the necessary funds, and that everything will be in place to reach this goal. Very often we're talking simply about additional procedures, but my starting point is I am not fighting against something. I try to create a working environment inside which all workers can perform in the best possible way. And this means that we set up everything needed for a good performance, and that all workers are really willing to develop their own skills and their own talents. There are methods allowing the implementation of such an organization where the people can really give the utmost of themselves. But that means that we never accept any form of transgressive behavior. And beside that, and this is an important point, we want a vivid work environment. We do not want to follow the example of the US, where the interprofessional relations are functional, where there is no emotion, no feeling. This is not what we want. We do not want to imitate our American colleagues or what happens in other Anglo-Saxon countries, where you are not even allowed to share an office. And here I want to refer to a very interesting work. The other side of the work that was published by the Randstad agency over several thousands of Belgian workers, and where the soft skills were examined, or soft aspects of the work environment. Can one behave, dress as he pleases? Can one wear tattoos? Does it have any impact on the relationship with the colleagues, etc.? It's a very interesting study, and I do not have all the figures, but in a nutshell, our workplaces are usually kind, user-friendly, kind, and there are many examples of transgressive behavior, and the people are wanting to have a positive culture. 82% of the workers declare being supporting their colleagues, and 70% say that their colleagues are supporting them. This means that 20 to 30% of them do not feel supported or do not offer their support. But we realize that the more support there is, the best the people feel at work. And the important thing is that one worker out of 4 says that he has at least one enemy at work. This study used deliberately the word enemy, because it's a very strong word. And one person out of 4 said that he had an enemy, and an enemy that reveals himself very often, very soon in the career. And the amount of enemies increases with time. And the use of this word, such a potent word, means that there are probably transgressive behaviors which can be reciprocal or not. And this allows us to understand a bit better how the work environment is in Belgium. So what can I say on the organization? As a matter of fact, the worker is in balance. He has to develop his skills and show that the working conditions, the wages and safety, ergonomy, lighting, everything is balanced. And then the relation at work, there must be a balance. One of my aspirations at the UNISO and afterwards at the FEB are different. My values have evolved. Now I also have the environmental component, which is increasing in importance. And that's very important to be able to control the relation at work and the acceptable sexual behaviors at work. Everyone has talked about the managers, but if the manager is not playing his role as he should, or if he really became incompetent in such a way that he is not able to detect this transgressive behavior or to get rid of it. When you are not performing as you should or are expected to behave, you will not be doing your job correctly with your colleagues. But I know that our job today is to talk about the transgressive behavior. What is really centered in the presentation is the leadership, respect, trust. I'm going to go a bit faster because I know that we're over time already, but leadership, what are we talking about leadership? The leader is not the one that I believe to be the manager. The leader is the leader of the workers. Leadership doesn't mean the ranking that you have and how you behave at work. The leadership is something that we can all take care of. But when we are at a certain level of the hierarchy, we can obtain more than those that are below in the scale: respect, mutual respect, trust, etc. But such a soft concept has its importance. In the meantime, several methods have seen the light of the sun, and several methods have been developed to obtain results. What do we understand with trust? Trust means integrity, sincerity, reliability, commitment, consistency, competence. All these are aspects that are configuring what we understand with trust. And the soft trust has been converted into a hard skill. The speed of trust is described with 13 elements, from talk straight, demonstrate respect, create transparency, right wrongs, show loyalty, etc. It's something that you really have to practice on your workplace every day. And these are things that we do all together. These behaviors are directed to somebody that allows us to see where there's something wrong in a relationship. So this is very easy to recognize, and when the management is supporting you for that, and I can't insist enough on the importance of working together in this. When we work together, we can obtain good results with this method and fight sexism at work, which is indeed a unacceptable attitude. I respect, we respect, you give, I receive, I give, you receive. So I just wanted to make this presentation with all the things that we have in the legislation arsenal is not enough. If we want to get rid of sexual harassment, etc., we must go farther, create together a better environment where people feel at ease and have fun working, where they feel they do not have any enemies anymore.